Okay, so now we're going to have a look at the presentation for AES. So what do I mean if I say AES?
Areopaglottic sphincter.
Very good. Okay, so let's play around with the sound that we make when we narrow that. So do you me? Do for me? It's like a mean witch, just a smaller sound. Very good. Did you ever watch Friends?
Yes.
Okay, Janice from Friends. So,
Yeah.
oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my God!
Oh my God. She had that laugh, didn't she? That really bright sound. Okay, so what do you think of that sound?
A bit ugly.
Okay. Does it sound a lot like singing? Can you imagine that into singing?
No.
Okay, that's often what comes up. People go, oh, it's really bright.
Yeah.
And so what we would say is that we learn it in its pure form to start with, so that we really understand it. And then we understand its uses, and then we can control how much to put into a sound, and also conversely when to take it out and how much to take out. So that's why we're going to do it. So how it works basically. So the areopaglottic sphincter is a ring of muscle that attaches from the epiglottis into the arytenoids, and when it contracts a bit like a purse string. So just imagine a bag with a drawstring and you get that pull. So it contracts and it lowers the epiglottis. And what that does is it creates a kind of tube within a tube, like an epilarynx. And it really boosts the sound. It has the effect of kind of doubling the sound of the voice. It has a 10 to 15 decibel advantage. So when the sound pressure wave is released, the vocal folds have come together, the sound has come up and it's been released. Instead of taking its normal trajectory out, it now hits this lowered epiglottis. Sound pressure wave is released, hits this lower epiglottis, which sends the sound wave almost back on itself, and we call that supraglottic pressure. Do you know a word that sounds a bit like supraglottic pressure? Subglottic pressure. So we get this below pressure, which is how when we make sound, but we get this pressure from above. And it has the effect of, it makes these vocal folds react in a different way, and it really makes this bright sound. Can you think of any risk factors, bearing in mind we're talking about the epiglottis moving and the larynx rising when we are narrowing our AES and we're putting it into the twang quality? Can we think of any potential danger areas?
Constricting.
Good, why might that happen?
Because your false vocal folds are going to get involved because it feels like it's swallowing.
Yes.
So they're going to try and close.
Absolutely. So when we come to look at this today, we start by doing it on a mid-velum, because that isn't part of the swallowing process. So it kind of confuses the larynx. So initially, larynx is rising, epiglottis is lowering. Okay, we're going to swallow.
Yeah.
But when we've got the velum in a mid position, it's going, oh, maybe we're not going to do that. So we learn it in a mid position to start with until we really get some control over that and our retraction, and then we can raise the soft palate and we can go into sound. So that's a great thing to do. So let's play around with some of these sounds again. So we'll do it on a nya. Just do for me. Nya, 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 nya. Good. How bright is that?
Really bright.
Good.
Yeah.
Loud?
Yes.
Okay. How much space have you got?
Not a lot.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Where's
Yeah.
the tongue?
High.
Good. Larynx is high.
Yeah.
So we haven't got a lot of space. And what are we often told about singing in terms of making a big sound? We need to create what kind of space?
Big.
Big space.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. Well, I'm making all of this, got this big sound, and actually it's a really small space.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing, what fold mass are we working with this?
Thin, but because it's loud, you would have thought thick.
Yeah,
But it's
exactly.
thin.
Yeah. So and mainly because it's a filter figure.
Yeah.
So all of that brightness comes from what's happening above the vocal folds. And again, if we get these thick folds, the risk of constricting even higher.
Yeah.
So it's this thin fold sound. So that's great. So let's do a couple more of these sounds, and then maybe we'll have a look at the figure. So great. Okay, so let's start building into this figure. Okay, so we're just going to start just going through from a mid-velum, the velum is low, going into a mid-velum. So we'll get kind of pitch. So is that about right? So if we just go, just those two movements, and that's great. And just test with your fingers. Great. And what's lovely is you didn't preempt the twang. So often we get a teeny little twang coming in. That was lovely.
Yeah.
Good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to nasalize that, and we're going to narrow the AES. So we'll get. Okay. Let's try that. Great work. Fabulous. Okay, so now we're going to maybe stay there, and we do an octave scale. I might play this one because it can be a little difficult. Okay. So we're going to start at the top of this. So do for me, we'll go. Do it for me. Good. And we're going to equalize it for brightness. So it means as we're descending, we don't want everything to drop. So we go. Keep it thin folds and put that little NY at the top just to kind of keep the tongue nice and high. So let's just try that. Do it once together, then once separately. And great work. I don't know what my face contorts. Okay, so let's just do the same thing again, just on your own, and just start there. Keep larynx high, and this one. Good, my piano playing didn't help heavily there. That was great. So do you feel, what do you observe as you get lower?
It's harder to keep everything up, that you want to drop everything and make a lovely singing sound, but it's hard to keep all that effort up there.
Good. And there are some really great uses for using twang lower. If you think about, there's that Phantom of the Opera, nighttime sharpens, and so often we get nighttime sharp, but if we add a little bit of twang to balance, some AES narrowing, nighttime sharpens, it can really help to equalize. So it's a wonderful thing to play with. Okay, so we're now going to have a look at equalizing this sound for brightness with the vowel sounds. So we'll do it on a nye-o. So if we do it here, we'll get maybe a little higher. Do that for me. Good. And then, so we'll do. Okay, let's try that. That's great. Really wonderful. Can I try that again? And can you just, give a little bit of thought to just a little bit more retraction as you're doing that. So go again. And wonderful. Okay, so now we're going to get to the last part. We're going to finally lift the soft palate. So we'll go. Being really mindful that when we lift the soft palate, everything doesn't just drop. So do you want to go straight in and try that from the nasalized twang? Okay, let's do that. Great work. Really great. Let's do that again. Actually, that wasn't fluke.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go again. Yeah, lovely. Now don't feel like you need to, because you feel you might have thickened the folds just a little bit.
Yeah.
So it will feel, so we get that, just that you don't feel like there's an increase in air pressure as you do that. But great. And again. That was lovely. You had a little surge and then you pulled back, which was really great. Okay, so can you see what this would buy us?
Yes, it does take the pressure off the vocal folds whilst belting, for example. It just kind of softens it a little bit.
Good. And when we come to look at the belting figure, belting quality even, we have some AES narrowing in that just to boost it as well.
Yeah.
So that was lovely. Do you have any other questions? Okay, that was great. Well done.
Thank you.